reviewing
we're
those
working on
books.
the other ones.
And we're seeing so many good ones. Cool Bear, one to check out. I think it came out last week. It's Bone Parish,
Yeah, the Cullen Bunn.
the new Cullen Bunn book, Bone Parish. It's out from Boom. Amazing, and I know we're all Cullen Bunn fans here. If you can pick up that issue of Bone Parish, it is really 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 good.
Yeah, there's another book from Boom. I don't know if you like the fantasy kind of stuff, Cool Beer. I'm not sure where you stand on the fantastic, but there's a really cool fantasy book by Boom called Coda that's out right now, and the artwork is just awesome. And it's basically the story of this magical world that's kind of like Middle Earth, but it's a magic world if like Sauron had won. If Sauron had gotten the rings and just destroyed Middle Earth and left everything a wreck, and there's just all the magic is almost gone from the world, and there's sometimes little goblins and magical creatures that run around, but they're few and far between. And it's a great look at a world where the heroes didn't win. It's like everything's just a mess, and everybody's just trying to survive in this horrible world.
Simon Spurrier, it'll always be good.
Yeah.
He's a good writer.
So also, Cool Beer, I want to know, because you've been reading a lot of the indie titles I've been seeing. Have you been keeping up though with like Doomsday Clock and things like that?
So Doomsday Clock, this is interesting. So I never felt the need to read more Watchmen, even when before Watchmen was there.
I think most people feel that way about Watchmen.
And when I picked up the first couple of issues, it was technically very well done and drawn very well, and I was like, this is actually quite a good book. And then I just decided I just didn't want to read more Watchmen. Like I'm done with Watchmen. Like I have it, I've read the original so many times, and I have the editions that I love of it, and I don't need to see a sequel. So I decided I stopped reading it after issue 2.
So with this series, and Panda, I know when you're able to get back to Midtown or wherever you go to get your books, you're probably going to pick some of these up. This last issue of Doomsday Clock, they had the characters Marionette and the Mime meet up with the Joker. And there was this big meeting of villains. But what's really cool about this is that all the villains look like they did in the Silver Age. So Riddler looked like Silver Age Riddler. You know, they all kind of look like their Silver Age counterparts instead of what they look like modern day. And I thought that was really interesting that, you know, in this world, they kind of are taking more of like, kind of like Watchmen, because that was more of a noir. They're going back to like more of a Silver Age look with a lot of the characters. So I thought that was good. It's a very, Chief and I always talk about it's a very slow burn with Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, I would think the reason to finish it is the interesting way that it is well done and stuff, but they're mixing the way they're mixing the DC universe with the Watchmen universe is kind of the interesting thing to see. Like in this last one, when you got to see the way the DC villains all interact,
how henchmen get hired.
Yeah, and like how the different henchmen like just drop they drop Mr. Freeze and go work for the Joker, and you get to see all these weird little behind the scenes things with the villains, and so there's some interesting stuff in Doomsday Clock, I would say.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all.
Pick it up in the trade. Pick it up in the trade.
I'm trying to reduce the amount of comics that I read.
Right. That's what we've been doing because we get so many.
Well, here's a question: Did you read, because there was the big controversy and the threats and all that? Did you read the Batman wedding issue?
Yeah, it was.
What did you think?
Oh, I really liked it. I didn't. My complaints were more, I thought the way they tried to do the letters with like these splash pages was a nice idea, and I think it worked to tell the story the way it did.
Oh, okay, yeah, with the different artists. Okay.
It was hard to read. It just wasn't very straightforward. So you almost have to read it 2-3 times to really get the gist of it, which is why I found it difficult. But I had no idea why everyone was so fucking angry. It was like, get over it. Like,
yeah, I really liked it because it called back to that rooftops arc that they did, where it was just the letters were the dialogue. And I thought that this makes total sense to me as I read it.
And it didn't surprise me in any kind of way either. So I was like, it's a shame. The idea of Batman getting married is ludicrous, and they address that. And it was a nice story about how he tried to be someone different.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did panda up on spoilers or not. But I just thought it made perfect sense. So I couldn't argue with it. I just found it very difficult to read because it was just a bit story, letter,
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
I agree. It was kind of weird with the different artists and stuff, and the different artwork and the different splash pages. That was kind of strange. But overall, I thought the book was really good.
Frosty
Yeah,
Sniper,
really
Frosty Sniper came in and said, real quick, Chief, you sound like a UFC announcer.
What's that sound like?
Yeah, I don't know. And Miss Amaris came in.
Quarter.
Miss Amaris came in and said, I have to crash. Got work early. Seriously, so proud of you guys. Thank you for keeping me laughing these past 200 episodes. I raised my Diet Coke to you and to another 200. Miss Amaris, we love you so much here at the show. Thank you so much for all your support, everything
you'll
being
have to
here.
come back and do hosting duties again, too.
Maybe you can come back for another Renegade Masterpiece. We'll see. We're planning it. Panda, we are planning another Renegade Masterpiece Theater.
Good.
So when we plan it, you're not working. You're coming and reading erotic adult fan fiction with us again.
And it'll be live.
And it will be live. Ooh.
But what was the controversy about? It was just
that they didn't.
like,
that it didn't.
it wasn't
go through.
a wedding. It wasn't a wedding.
You built us up and you gave us all these other freaking books, And I wanted what I wanted, not what you wanted. I wanted what I wanted.
I think Tom King's been great on Batman. I thought it was I've always said since he started, right after he picked up after Snyder, I said it feels like Snyder's Batman. It feels like it's the same guy. It just feels like we're looking at him from a different angle.
Yeah.
No, that's the important thing because it's completely opposite to how Snyder approached storylines. And this is just a very thoughtful type of Batman. It's just very different to anything we've seen really in Batman for a long, long, long time.
You know what? Talking about comics is just reminding me to ask Panda, did you ever finish the Gerard Way Funko Pop collection?
I think I'm still missing one.
Okay, so we got to find that one for you.
It's like the skeleton one or something.
Okay. I want you to know, I have a shrine downstairs, and in the centerpiece is the Howard the Duck mug that you got me.
Nice.
It's like a shrine. And then next to it is my VHS of Howard the Duck, my DVD of Howard the Duck, my Blu-ray of Howard the Duck. All in a row.
When they're done with using him in the Marvel movies, are you gonna buy the suit?
I would
I was
would
gonna
buy
say he
anything.
should cosplay Howard the Duck sometime. We should just glue feathers to spin.
I am still pissed off that Seth fucking Green got the voice Howard the Duck when I am the Marvel anointed biggest Howard the Duck fan, and I get no love. I got anointed by Chip Zdarsky himself at C2E2, but then they get Seth Green?
You kind of stood over him, intimidated him into doing it, though. I mean,
Shut up!
Kind of to bring in a related note, Spin, how do you feel about the cancellation of Comic Book Men?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think with Comic Book Men, now I was on in season 3 of Comic Book Men, and that was when it was still very much more the aspect of selling books and these weird, people coming in and buying books or selling, awesome things. And then over time, it just became more and more of these weird stories of the guys. It's it became more scripted with the stories. I preferred it when it was just, hey, I have this, 1970-something Star Wars Sandcrawler. How much is it worth? Or, hey, I got Migos.
I didn't watch it much after they got away from doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even really know what they did on their last season.
And yes, anybody in the chat, what we're talking about is I made an appearance in season 3, episode 3, I believe.
That was episode 1.
Let me see here.
Mod, if we knew French, you can come on the show, Mod, and Mod says we should do a show in French.
Shoot, yeah.
I don't know how to speak French, but you could come on and translate.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, it was season 3, episode 3, called Super Friends. I was on Comic Book Men. That used to be on AMC. I was on episode 3 of season 3. It was a huge event. I mean, everybody was we were all going nuts about it. We were having viewing parties. And it was on Netflix, so I can say I've been on Netflix. So if you want to Netflix and chill back in 4 or 5 years ago, you were Netflix and chilling with me. Yeah.
He was there. He was in your house.
Nightmares forever. But I mean, kind of also after I was on the show, I kind of got disillusioned because I kind of saw behind the curtain.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw that, I filmed 45 minutes worth of footage and they used like 4 minutes of footage. And that kind of really pissed me off. And especially when I saw the footage that they used and it was like, I'm sitting there critiquing the book. Like they're bringing me the Howard the Duck #1 and they're like, oh, it's this much. I'm actually going through, I'm checking like the staples, I'm checking the spine. I'm looking at the color of the paper. I'm going through, making sure there's no tears. I'm being a comic book fan. I'm making sure that this book is the right price that they want. And they completely cut all that out. They cut out everything I talk about, showing that I know what I'm talking about with Howard the Duck. Because, no, the customer cannot know what he's talking about.
They got to have Walt explain
Walt has to explain everything. Walt explains everything. Brian makes jokes. And Ming, you just stand there and be Ming. So I kind of got a little disillusioned for it. I mean, it was cool. I got to go to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. It was cool. Would love to go back, maybe buy more books. But it was really kind of like, at that point, I really want to say, oh, you know what? Chief and I can make a better comic book reality show. Just you watch.
We're going to get on AMC.
We're going to get on AMC.
Next thing.
And especially since I saw the sets. Like that, when they would sit around like the podcast table at the beginning or during the show, and they would like act like they're podcasting. That's like a little itty bitty like it's not even a room. It's just like this open area with some flats behind it to make it look like walls, and then they're just standing around it. It wasn't anything extravagant. It was like, oh my, it's like never meet your idols because you're gonna be disappointed.
No.
Type of a thing. And the bad part is I never got to meet Kevin Smith at that one. I did meet Kevin Smith that next weekend when I went and saw Jay and Silent Bob's Super Groovy Cartoon Movie as a VIP. I did meet him then. And he's a generally nice guy. Kevin Smith is actually a generally nice guy.
One of the things I would say that is the reason that we have 200 episodes is ever since that I've met Spin, everything he's ever told me he was going to do, he's pulled it off. And he's somehow gotten everything he's ever said he was going to get for us, and he did it. And it's amazing. I gotta thank my friend also for the 200. My friend Spin for doing all of this. He works on this thing harder than any. You don't. It seems like it's you just throw this on and it's done. No, Spin does a lot of work and prep on doing this all the time. That I get by. Throwing money at shit. And
he's my sugar daddy. Chief's my sugar daddy.
I throw a little money at it and say, make this happen. And Spin busts his ass to make this show good every week for everybody.
I don't sleep.
And you have to, because unless you put the work in, it just disappears.
Chief will tell you, I don't sleep. I don't. I barely
he's
sleep.
awake every night. I get stuff 2-3 in the morning sometimes. Here, check this out. Let me know if you can get this comic because I just got it from Cinescope. He's like, whenever you wake up, let me know you got this.
There was one night I think I created like 40 banners for show ideas and just kept like the messenger feed that we're on and that Panda's also on. It was just banners, like 40 of them in a row, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I can't sleep." And now with Twitch, I'm up because I'm doing the show, and then I'm on GTA because I want to give fans so much stuff. I want to bring everything to you. Which Chief, the wife got a little pissed.
He's told me we're going to be on. We're getting a podcast. We had a podcast. He said, "Okay, we're going to be on Bleeding Cool in a week." We were on Bleeding Cool.
Then we got fired.
Then we got fired, but he got us on there. That's the thing. And then you said, we'll build a better podcast. He said, we're going to get on iHeartRadio. And I said, okay, all right. We're not getting on iHeartRadio. I don't know. In a week, we're on iHeartRadio. This guy works harder than anybody. Plus, he's got a kids and a job and a real job, and he busts his ass to do good work. So thank you, Spin, for making the show so good and making me look good in the process, who doesn't do jack. I just show up like a trained dog.
Well, first of all, I want to thank both Chief and Panda because you both, when our old show died, and I'm going to say that it died. Actually, no. Chief and I shot it in the head and then left it in a ditch on the side of the highway.
Put my foot on its throat.
We did a portrait of Henry portrait of a serial killer, and we left it in a suitcase on the side of a road. Panda.
We don't even know where the tapes are.
We don't even know.